All right, hey, Tony here, Random Ventures 2.0. Where are we at and what are we doing? Well, where we're at Dutchware, and that's Dutchware Gear, DutchwareGear.com. And we're here to take a look at Dutchware and speak to the man himself, Dutch. All right, well, hey, if you're ready, buckle up. Here we go. All righty, guys, here's Dutch himself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dutch, and well, Tony, welcome here to Dutchware, and you are lucky because I give the very best tours of Dutchware. We're very passionate about what we do here. You can see this is our conference room, and we have a lot of patents. We have 44 patents that we have either done, or sometimes we bought out of companies, as in Clark, and have actually purchased the patent. But we are very passionate about being the innovators of the industry, and that is a little bit of representation of that. So let's go do a tour.
All right, so we're going to take a walk on out to the shipping department. I think that's where we're starting. All righty, here we go.
So everything really, it starts and it finishes here in the shipping department. The orders come into the shipping department, and then they send the work out throughout the plant. We look at the shipping department as the store, whereas the rest of the place is really a manufacturer. And we ship many different things, like batch stove. We are the only distributor of batch stove, and he does such fine work, but he doesn't want to be shipping every day. So when you actually say, click on his website to buy, it actually takes you to our website, and we are the one fulfilling his order, but he still gets to spend his time doing what he does best. He is such an amazing craftsman, making these upscaling these great stoves.
So Dutch, this isn't just your items either. So it's a multitude of other things that you help other vendors kind of distribute.
Certainly. I mean, first of all, we love to work with other manufacturers. We especially love to work with American manufacturers. And then also, there's things that we can't make. DAC poles. We can't make DAC poles. DAC is the very best in the industry, and they make amazing aluminum poles, and we are one of the very few American distributors of DAC poles. So a big part of our process is that we make things in components, and then we put it together right here in the shipping department. And so we are doing it so that a customer can get really a custom item, but we're able to ship it out lightning fast. And the way we do that is, like, you'll see that all these are all tie-outs, and they have all been spliced. So, and then we leave the end is going to be unfinished. So we can just put a piece of hardware on here. These are probably going to get some ringworms, and we can ship it to the customer so that they can get 4 blue ones and 2 orange ones, and we're going to be able to put that out. We don't actually have to make that at the time they order it. Hopefully everything is there. You're going to see that repeated throughout the process.
Oh, very nice.
You can see here we have all this splicing, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, look, we got they're like waterfalls of zinc.
Yeah.
If you look over here, this is all the AM steel, and we have 1/8 and 7/64, and we've got the different size loops, and we are moving a lot of these. We have one person in-house that is doing this. They have to take all these strands apart. People know what it takes to splice. Imagine what it takes to splice all of this.
Oh my goodness.
And that isn't all, because you come over here and we got another length of leads. All these bins are all filled. These are continuous ridge lines. This is soft shackles that have all been prepared. So if the customer goes and orders a orange ridge line and they want yellow soft shackles, we're able to put those components together and ship super fast because it's all ready. There are bins and bins like this, so that we are ready to give the customer as quick of an experience as we possibly can.
Yeah, Dutch, looking at all of these bins and all of the intricate things, a lot of that I didn't know what it was, because it's not your backyard hammock. I mean, that's what most people that are not in the industry or experienced a hammock in the past kind of would look at this as, well, what is this little thing for? And that's what you guys have kind of grown on, is helping people figure out what those are, and even developed a lot of it with your patents in there and what those little intricates are. But this is like a garage for people who want to actually make their own stuff too.
Absolutely. First of all, we like to cater to the DIYers, and you can see we have one of the biggest online suppliers of different cord locks and the side release buckles, and on my website, if you go all through that, there's going to be a lot of it, right? And we really go to a lot to go into depth into our descriptions to make it as easy as you can, and you're able to sort through it the way you can. But if you're buying a hammock from us, I really highly recommend that you contact us beforehand so we can find out if this is your first hammock, what are you going to use it for? What temperatures are you going down to? Right. What's your height? What's your weight? How much weight do you want to carry? What's your real priorities on this? Because if you do this right the first time, you're going to have the best hammock that's really catered for you.
Yeah. And that's what's important. I think what a lot of the misconception is, people just hear hammock and say, oh, well, I'll try just this. And they set it up wrong, and they may not like it, and they never go any further. But reaching out to, say, like your company, you would ask those questions, find out, and then make a little bit of recommendations and find out different things as well.
Yeah, we want people, we're very passionate about this, and we want to get people out in the woods. It's really the whole point in this.
Right.
And if we can make your system work better, that's what we're going to do. And if we can make it better for you, that you're really going to enjoy it, and you become as passionate about this as we are,
right?
Then it's a win as far as I'm concerned for everybody.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. No, that's great. Oh, there's a lot of stuff here. Oh, a lot of neat stuff.
Yeah. Let's get into it. So we are getting into the parts that we particularly manufacture, and we do this with a Kanban system. The inventory actually is kept right on our website, and when something gets down to, let's say these are rain skirts, and when we get down to maybe 3 rain skirts, it sends, it's actually called a purchase order, but it's really a purchase order because this is a store and it's buying off of Dutchware, the manufacturer. And it gets down to 3, we know the manufacturer, 10, and then we will restock it. The goal is that in-stock items are going to be taken out of our manufacturing process and always there. When you order the rain skirt, if that's all you get, boom, it goes. But let's say you order a rain skirt and a printed tarp. I don't know what tarp you're going to be ordering, so that is not made. And we're going to go and make that a custom item. But when you remove only the custom items from the order, and you only have to concentrate on making that printed tarp, and these are already in stock, it makes that process a lot easier. And you are going to be able to get the customer the product faster, and that is our biggest goal. Get it to the customer fast.
So Dutch, I'm seeing some food here. What is all this about?
Well, one thing, I'm passionate about 2 things. I'm passionate about hammock camping, and I'm passionate about food. And I'm a foodie, but we are getting into freeze drying our own foods. And this is going to be Dutch's Trail Magic. We've been
very cool.
Yeah, we've been slowly working on this to build this brand and to make freeze-dried foods. The idea is that, like, this is some mozzarella, and you can rehydrate this and have foods out on the trail that you're able to prepare your own meals. We are a DIY company, so we want people to be able to DIY their own foods, and it really helps with people that have dietary needs. Yeah. Some of that foods that you get that are freeze-dried, they're very often salty, and they put a lot of things into them, and some things people can't have because they might have some type of dietary restriction.
Right.
This way you get to do that, and you put it in a tortilla, and it's going to be light. And eventually where we're going to get to there is we're going to be manufacturing meals that we prepare. And actually that's coming very soon.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's something new. I wasn't expecting to see food when I walked down the aisle. That is really cool. Yeah, so an item coming out very soon.
Yep. We started having it on the website, but we just got in a batch, and I'm really looking forward to building those offerings. Because right now, really, all we have is cheese and Skittles.
Who doesn't like Skittles? I know I do.
Yeah. All right, so we go and we manufacture all this stuff, and we've already had a lot of things in stock, and we have to put the orders together. We have custom items, things that get printed, manufactured, and then sent down. And this is the ending of that. So on our orders, you'll notice that we have the part number or the SKU number to be big and bold. That way, everything has a SKU number. Matter of fact, I put a SKU number in place when I had product number 1, and it just has carried out. It totally worked.
Yeah, that's cool.
So once that's manufactured, the other thing that we do is if something is a custom item and I have to manufacture this. Take, for example, this is a bonded xenon winter tarp.
Okay.
And it is 12 foot and also coyote brown, and it does have side panel pullouts. I don't stock that.
Right.
I have to manufacture that. That's considered a custom item. And there's so many options on there. So what we do is we make a photocopy and we make it by the week. This is the pink week. And this way we know the priority of this order. If I go up there next week and I see a pink order, well, that needs to be pushed out because that's getting to be 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
And this gives us a great priority and a great visual. You'll see a lot of things that are color coded that we do so that we don't have to print reports and go look for things. You can easily see when I go up into manufacturing, this tag stays with us the whole time, and I can see the order that I want to push this out. The other thing we do on every order is we put the quantity is going to be big and bold. That way, that was a mistake that very commonly gets made when it comes time for shipping. And also, every order has a gram weight on it.
Okay.
And we weigh every order. And then we mark it down here. And if it's not within 20 grams, somebody has to come over here, pull it apart, and find out why. Was it made from the wrong material? Was it? And I was thinking some of these orders have 100 parts on them.
Oh, right.
And it takes just a slight variation, and you're going to get more than 20 grams.
Okay.
And then we're also documenting it. Right now, it looks like these were all good, so we're doing pretty good. It means that, though, that when we put things on the website and we're saying that this weighs 28 grams, it better weigh 28 grams because if there's too many of them in the order or too many items are off, then we're going to be picking these apart.
Really off weight then, yeah. That's a double check. That's good.
It's a great quality assurance, but also there's so many websites out there that they are wrong on the weight of the products they have. And now you know that the weight of the product that I ship is going to be extremely close because the entire order has to be within 20 grams.
Oh, wow. Very good.
So one of the things that we were really proud of, we didn't buy off-the-shelf things to manufacture the hammock. Almost everything, every part of the hammock has been developed by us. The hardware, the webbing, the zippers, the fabrics, even some ropes. So if you really want to get to the very best product that you can't use the same thing that everybody else has been using. A lot of things that we developed, actually the industry then has picked up. Here's a very big one, the spider poly webbing.
Oh.
So this is a ultra high molecular weight polyethylene with a polyester, and before this was developed, you would have either Dyneema or you would have polyester. And I wanted to combine it, but no manufacturer would do it because they were afraid that it would stretch and it would wrinkle. And both of them didn't have very much stretch. So I said, go for it, try it.
Yeah.
And they went and they did it, and it was very successful because now we got a very light Dyneema webbing that is very strong, doesn't have stretch, but hardware can use it. Because if you just had 100% ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, it will slide. We also do offer that, and what's really great about that is, man, this stuff gets light. And this is 1.5 grams per foot.
Oh, wow.
And normal webbing is usually around 7. And we are very proud that we're able to bring this to market, and we are continuing to do this. We are actually getting this from 6 grams per foot, and our next batch of this is going to be 4 grams per foot.
Oh, wow.
So that is a third cut from it.
So the ultralight hiker and things like that is really leaning towards that. And that's kind of driven a little bit of your way that you make things and develop things, because you are a hiker.
Yeah. Actually, I'm a through hiker, and the way I
Right.
got into this was I through hiked in 2003. I was one of the first people to do it in a hammock. And
Oh, wow.
And when I was done, there was nothing.
Right.
And I had to make my own gear. And then after I did, everybody wanted to buy that gear that I was making.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do that because it was really a hobby of mine.
Right.
And
And look where the hobby is today, right?
I became a manufacturer. It was, believe me, it was kicking and clawing my way to not do it. But
Right.
now I guess I've embraced it.
Right. It's
So-
a good thing, because you've got so much stuff. And having used it yourself, you knew how to develop it.
Absolutely, and still we have people that work here that are passionate about it, and some of these ideas, sometimes they're from my employees, sometimes they are from myself, sometimes the customers bring me
Ooh, very good.
ideas and things of that nature. So our hardware, this is actually how I got my start, and the Dutch clip was the very first product that I developed, and it looked nothing like this. My first Dutch clip was aluminum, and it didn't look near this pretty. As a matter of fact, I used files and Dremels and sandpaper.
Really?
And I'd get cramps in my hands, and they never looked this good.
Right.
These things are perfect. These things are forever. One day, when our money is worthless, these will be the currency that people will use.
Right.
And then-
Dutch currency.
And then I really got it made.
Yeah.
So
But these are all machined here on site.
absolutely, I'm going to be taking
Yeah.
you back and showing you that.
Oh, that's gonna be
And
good. Yeah.
I'm really proud of what we do there, and
Yeah.
also you'll see a recurring theme that I am very proud to be an American manufacturer, putting out the most innovative gear that you possibly can.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come down here and do this tour, Dutch, because this is what it's all about. American made by American ingenuity that is oftentimes overlooked. So just the fact that you're doing that, and I'm standing here talking to you and seeing the stuff that basically came out of not only your mind, but maybe the employees or even customers, is really exciting.
One of the things that we're really proud of is trying to be as eco-friendly as you can be. When you manufacture, you do cause waste, but we want to be as low of a footprint as possible. We have to live in the environment. So one of the things that is really neat is we take scrap titanium to make our parts. They go and they reinforce a Hummer or an airplane door,
Yeah.
and they cut that out of there, and then they have these big pieces of scrap. Now it means you have to lay that out when you go and you when I cut my pieces out of it, but I am utilizing scrap to manufacture that. But
very
then
good.
we don't just stop there. When you do that, there's still a drop that's still scrap.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what to do with that, so we took those and we cut them into these, and you can see these are the tarp flies.
Okay.
And now we have the tarp fly grill, and you stick this on a little wood burning stove, and you cook a piece of chicken in.
Very good.
And this also just happens to be my logo, so hopefully they post it on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the grill marks of my logo in their chicken.
in their chicken or steak.
Yep. So this is meant to go in one of those square
Yeah.
wood burning personal stoves, but we have bigger ones. This here is a fleas grill.
So this is fairly a new item for you. You just rolled that out, and this was originally just scrap.
Yeah. We used to get no money for these when we take
Got
them.
it.
You have to pay a lot of money for titanium, and you get nothing when you go sell it.
And the pattern is the actual piece that came out of it.
Yep,
and that's the left. Okay.
And there's the
Yeah,
flea.
there you go.
And after we get cut, this I used to get $1 a pound when I would recycle this.
Huh.
And now it goes into a neat use. And
yeah, very good use.
who doesn't want a titanium fleas grill for their
right
throw over their fire pit?
Absolutely.
This one is meant to just pop onto the fire, put a couple rocks there.
Yeah.
Cook a couple steaks on here.
Oh, very good.
So we have a theme that goes with our products. Now, it's not on all of them, but when we can, we make them look like bugs. So this is a wasp, and the wasp, although it looks very ornamental, it actually is very functioning. The whole idea came because the flies were very difficult. The holes were very close, and it was very difficult to get that string undone and wrapped when you had to move it.
Yeah.
And this way, because the holes are spread and they have that hoop, you can just grab it and move it and then lock it into place.
Yeah.
So if it is a flying, stingy thing, it holds your tarp up.
Right.
Flies, fleas, the wasp, and stingers. And if it is a parasitic, wormy thing, it holds your tarp down. Think ringworms.
Oh, yeah.
Tarp worms and hookworms.
Yeah.
And it's fun because when you go and first you have an idea, such as I had the idea of this, and it all started with this hoop, and then I had to think, what bug can I make that look like?
Right.
So and then you go about doing it.
Well, and a lot comes from nature.
Yep.
Yeah.
But really, we look at this. I mean, these things are gorgeous. The polish on these are amazing, and I consider it jewelry for your tarp. Matter of fact, there are people that wear this as like a necklace.
Really?
Yes.
I could see that.
So we have really worked on our processes, and the polish that we put on these now is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, look at that.
One of the greatest relationships that we have had is with Jacks Are Better. It's been since before there was a Dutchware. Actually, before there was Jacks Are Better, I knew the Jacks. I met them on my through hike. I didn't even know who they were, but I just being in the hiking community, I ran into them. And since the very beginning, they're the ones that first started putting the Dutch clips on the website. And they became absolute leaders in the quilt field. They're the first ones. They practically really invented underquilts. And we are so proud to be, we sell Jacks Are Better, but what you'll find is that they use our materials. So we cut their fabrics, we cut their baffle material, we send it to them. They do their great craftsmanship and turn them into these fantastic quilts. And then we're also able to offer them again. So we actually have 2 selling opportunities here, but also it's working with other manufacturers to do what everybody does best.
Yeah. I met Jacks Are Better down at the HangCon event. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great guys. The new owners are great guys. And, well, they're actually very close to here. So,
okay.
So,
that makes it even nicer.
they are not just people that we work with, but also they're very good friends.
Yes. So there's even more bins.
So when it comes to plastic hardware, we are one of the biggest online sources, and we try to have stuff. I mean, some of the stuff, I don't even really know the use for it, but someone goes and looks at it and they say, man, that is perfect for that closure that I wanted for my backpack. And we try to have everything. It's fun to invent gear here because I can go and see how this clicks with that, how well that cord lock works, because not all cord locks are built the same. Trust me,
right.
It is. When I get a cord lock in, I go and I put it onto different strings and I see how well it holds and how it loosens. And I don't think other people go into that type of, because sometimes you pick something up and the cord lock opens up. It's just not strong enough. And well, I'm very picky about that. But you can see all of the bins of all the plastic hardware that we have. There's another thing on here. This is kind of, well, this system is probably 3 years old, but we do lean manufacturing here, and it is very important, and this is part of our lean manufacturing. It used to be we had smaller racks and we had smaller bins, and then we had a warehouse. And when that bin ran out, which it ran out very frequently because they were small bins, then you had to go find it in the warehouse.
Okay.
And what that often means is go look for it until you give up. And that is a very slow process.
Right.
Now we have these big bins that hold an enormous amount of product. These are 2 foot long, and they and you can see it holds a lot of product. But when I do need the product, it's not in a warehouse. It's from here up. So you'll see that these are labeled with white. These are labeled with blue. This is the overstock. If this bin is empty and there's no bin up here of it, you don't have any. Stop looking. Go order it.
There you go.
And actually, hopefully it's already been ordered, because we don't really want to run out.
Right.
And that's where we use something called a Kanban system. And a Kanban system just means a reorder point. And what makes you do that? You can, we often use the website, but sometimes it's a physical count.
Right.
You'll see back here that we keep, a minimum of 1,000 pieces in here.
Oh,
so
boy.
If someone opens up this bag, they turn in this card. That goes to purchasing. We purchase more.
Get more. Yeah, makes sense.
Here is actually another system for the Kanban. Now, the Kanban could be the inventory that's kept on the website. Like I said, it could be a bag of 1,000 sitting over there. But here, we need to know exactly how many chameleons of all the different varieties of chameleons that we have. We are kind of obsessive about giving the customer options, almost to the point that it is overwhelming to the customer and us, but we'll live there. But what we do is we have Hammock. This is a chameleon body, and this is a 1 ounce per square yard hammock body. That is camo.
And these would all be standard stock, not a custom.
Yes.
Yes.
Here's the beauty of the chameleon, is it's made modular. So if you order a camo body and a red top, I don't have to have that in stock. What I have to stock is red tops and camo bodies, and then just put it together at the point of shipping, and hopefully we're able to do that fast. I don't have to manufacture or stock, because could you imagine, it would be an infinite amount of options that you could give when you have all the colors of all the tops and all the bug nets.
Right.
With all the options of all the bodies.
Absolutely.
So the Kanban on this one is using these key tags.
Oh.
And if it is a blue key tag, it is a 1 ounce per square yard fabric.
Okay.
Then I take the camo and I print that and I put that in there. So if this tag goes up to a board that I will show you in a bit, but you know that this is a 1.0 because it's this. You know that it's a camo there. It then gets manufactured. When it gets manufactured, it comes back. So when I pull this out of here, there was 2 tags. There was 2 hammocks.
Yeah.
Now I pull out one. I put that in a cup. These are today's hammocks that we pulled, and we'll be sending them up.
Okay.
And the idea here is that we should never run out. Now I look here and I found out Brilliant Blue is out. So we have something that is going to tell us that is an emergency situation, and we have to manufacture that so that they get done right away. And it's a very visual system. If it is a red tag, it's a 1.6. If it is a black tag, it is a wide fabric.
Okay.
And if it is a 1.2 hexon, it's green. And this system took me from being a batch manufacturer. So we would go and we'd say, okay, we're going to make, red chameleons. We're going to make a batch of 10 of them. And then we'd bring down there and stock them. And then if anybody runs out of something, make out a slip, and we'll make a batch of 10 of that. Well, what happens at shipping is you go over here, you've already started putting the order together, and then you come here and 1.6
it's out.
green is out.
Yeah.
And which ones are going to be out? The ones that everybody orders all the time.
Right.
The dark olives, the forest greens.
Yeah.
The for some reason burnt orange is really, really popular. And I would have all these red hammocks here, and never the ones that I wanted to ship.
Right.
And then when you have to manufacture 10, well, it takes a long time to make 10. So someone has to stop. First of all, they got an order that's halfway done. They might have to put all that stuff back, fill out a slip, send it up there. They have to cut the fabric, and it's going to be a couple days till you get it down there at least. and because you're going to be making a batch of 10 of them. And then by the time that you get that down there, you've gotten 4 or 5 more orders of that fabric that could not go out.
Right.
So
streamlining your system is something you've been developing over the years, and this is what you've settled on for this product that is really looks like it. I mean, you've got product in every one. There's not 10 in each bin because you don't need 10 in each bin.
Yep.
But you're always filling the cup and continuing to go. That's good.
What we try to have is a maximum of 2 weeks supply. So that, like when COVID struck and all my seamstresses weren't allowed to come in, I was able to go 2 weeks with shipping orders.
Okay.
and that's how I really figured out on the number of quantity. So let me take you upstairs to sewing, and we'll show you what happens with all. So we're up here in sewing, and this is the chameleon body board. And what you'll see here is this is the hooks. So the hooks is the maximum number of these that we have. You'll also see that they're skewed all the way to the right, and the color coding. Blue is going to be 1 ounce per square yard fabric. Blue is 1.6. Black is wide, and the green ones are going to be the 1.2. So I know right now, just by glancing at this, that we are completely out of brilliant blue 1.0 hammocks. I also see that we're out of Moroccan blue, and we're out of purple. We're out of we've been busy, so they've been coming in a little bit quicker. But what I can also tell, so when we put them in there, they're actually turned this way, and then when we start manufacturing them, we flip them over.
Okay.
And then after quality assurance brings them over here, they then take the tag down, and then that goes back down to the bins. This is extremely visual. When I come up here to see how my day is, I look here and I say, my day's busy.
Yeah.
Okay, also the fact that they are skewed all to the right, but we start on the left, means I can go down here and see if there's one on the hook on the very far right, you know that bin is empty. And that is, to us, it's an emergency situation, and we have to get manufacturing them. And it looks like we're in process on a lot of things.
Good deal.
It goes quick.
Very quick.
From the time that we say cut and sew, it's a day or two.
Very good.
So this is all of our ropes. This is the rope station. And some of these ropes we actually developed the Reflected, which is an ultra high molecular weight polyethylene with a reflective band through it, and it's very spliceable. That is a rope that we developed. Some of the shock cords and stuff are very particular for what we're trying to do. Always trying to maximize to get the lightest and the strongest that you possibly can. And we are a Samson distributor, and we are moving a lot of Samson rope. Of course, in our industry, everybody knows the 7/64. They know the Zing-It, and we sell a lot of that. But we are selling, I mean, some of these, the 7/16, that will pick up my truck.
Really?
And yeah, it's tons that it will hold. And people make tow ropes and things of that nature out of it.
Okay.
So
this is sold by the foot?
Well, most of the smaller diameters we sell in 25-foot increments.
Okay.
And now, if you order it, it comes as one piece. So if you order 4, you get 4, or you get 100. And but the larger ones, we don't want to do that because you want to be a little bit more precise. The stuff is often costs $1 a foot. So if you need 20 foot, we make you 20 foot. That all gets done right on here. This is a counter. Basically, I stole this idea from Home Depot. This is how they wrap up their wire, but you stick it in here, and you wrap it up, and that way the customer gets a nice wrapped up roll.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
So and it goes quite fast.
Yeah, it looks like it. So we just came up to the sewing room. So downstairs was all the gear and everything and then up here is where all the work happens with all the sewing, and that's a lost art, isn't it, Dutch?
Yeah, we left our sewing capabilities go back in the 80s, and and it's a darn shame. You have such great craftsmen here that are doing this, and we're very fortunate. It is difficult to find people that can sew, and these people are doing such a fantastic job. We are trying to get to the next level. Like when you see our zippers, they aren't just hemmed and put in there. These are folded and they're part of the hammock. So what happens there is this makes the zipper part of the hem and makes strength on the hammock. So, and you'll never have this fail because it's not just a zipper sewn onto it. It's part of the hammock.
Okay.
It is a detail that you really don't see it on the Amazon page.
Right.
And we go to great lengths. But my theory is that I'm going to be inside that hammock. They always want to make it look good on the outside. It's kind of like a fence. They always point the good part on the outside, and you, the purchaser, are sitting there looking at the support beams.
Right.
Well, I want it to look good on the inside especially. So that's why you won't see the edge of a zipper tape on mine. They are wrapped into the hem and is incorporated with the hammock.
And that's the difference between actually manufacturing in the U.S. and what you see that's coming into the country. They're not taking the time to do all of this, because I've seen zippers that usually pull out.
Absolutely, and the reason for that is that doesn't help them. You can't tell that this zipper is wrapped when it's on an Amazon page.
Right.
They're trying to make a hammock at the lowest price point possible. But does that make the best hammock possible? That's what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to make the best hammock possible. And I think the way that we do our zippers is very, very symbolistic of what we're trying to do there with making the best hammock on the planet. Not only are we laying them down there, this is the famous chameleon zipper. And one of the things that we do to make it so that everything is repeatable, because remember, a chameleon purchased in 2017 and a chameleon bought today, those parts all have to interchange. So we have to use the same zippers. And the connection points where everything goes has to be the same, because we put pockets on these D-rings. And the way we do that is we mark the zipper, and we actually sew. After we sew the D-rings and the miscellaneous pack hooks onto a piece of grosgrain, we then sew that onto the zipper. And then when the hammock is manufactured, this is going to go down and this is going to go down, and we're going to sew across there.
Okay.
If you've ever had a D-ring pull out because the grosgrain was not in far enough, and it frays and it pulls out, and this is a very big weak spot. That wasn't a chameleon, because a chameleon, it's the same piece of grosgrain that runs all the way through that, and it gets sewn about 5 times.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's not coming out.
Pretty much, if this grosgrain came out, your hammock got destroyed. There was a horrible, you were caught in a volcano.
Right.
This is our staging area. Things get cut, they come up here. One thing you'll notice is the colors of the slips. We color code them by week. So this is the pink week. Last week was the green week, or week to that was the blue week, and we can give things the priority. You'll notice there's no blue on here because we have all those being made, and it gives, otherwise everything just looks the same and you can't tell what should be your next job or what is aging. And all this has to do with getting the product to the customer as fast as you possibly can. So we actually have 3 tables on here. One of them is an inspection table. We have one that we use mainly for bonding, and then this one is used for cutting, particularly the wide fabrics, because we do have a laser cutter that cuts our patterns, but we don't have a one that will do 70 inches. So we have to cut those by hand. We keep those wide fabrics back here, and we can pull them up here, but we also mark them here. This shows the quilting process. This is a quilted chameleon or a hellbender. We actually use the same pattern for what we're going to lay down and do the quilt part of it. And we laser cut out these patterns. We lay it on there, and you're able to chalk in here. And if it's a head right or head left, this is set up for head right. We would just flip it over, and we'd be able to do the head left. These are pretty strong, and what we're trying to do here is we are going to lay out this body. We're going to put this pattern on here. We're going to chalk it, and that way we know where we're going to sew this quilt shell onto this body. And we also have to mark this, and we also have to mark the quilt shell, because we need everything to line up, like the location of all the baffles that are on here.
Yeah.
Our quilted chameleon and the Hellbender hammock, what really makes this special is this is a quilt. It's not a quilt sewn to it. You're actually part of the hammock. And there's no other layer. There's a hammock fabric, there's an outer shell, and there's insulation in between. We didn't just take a quilt and sew it to the hammock body.
Yeah.
In order to do that, we had to develop a downproof fabric so that the feathers don't come through it. We also had to have certain characteristics with the amount of stretch that it would be, and also we're always looking for the best possible feeling hammock against your skin. And then we are putting only down quilt shell, and that's it. This is about as light as you can make an insulated hammock. A lot of other places, they'll use basically a hammock body, and then they make it double layer, and that's how they make it downproof, is that whole second layer. But that didn't reduce anything. It actually is more quilt shell because you're making it the same size as the hammock. This is like sleeping in your quilt because the hammock body is actually quilted itself. And then we make it differentially cut so that the insulation does not get compressed on the outside. We went into great lengths on this. We used to make tarps pretty much like everybody else did. We sewed a ridgeline together, and then you either hoped that it didn't leak, or if it did leak, you had to seam seal it. And unfortunately, the way you find that out is you get rained on. And we worked for a long time. So these are silicone impregnated materials, and nothing sticks to silicone. So we worked with 3M to develop an adhesive, and we actually bond our ridge lines, and the very strongest part of this tarp is where this ridge line is. This has worked phenomenally. It makes better quality. It makes it so that you don't have to seam seal it, or worse yet, when seam sealing leaks, repairing that and putting more seam sealer on top of seam sealer is, well, that's a nightmare, and it really doesn't work. We're able to bond on the reinforcements. So this is still in the manufacturing process. This has to be rolled in, and now we have a great place that we're going to go and be able to attach the attachment point on here. So that reinforcement, prior to us doing this, we used to sew on some type of reinforcement, and then when it would pull, you would see little tiny holes
Little
forming.
holes, yeah.
And guess what comes through little holes is rain.
Water.
So we're able to bond on the side panel pullouts, and we bond the ridge line, and we bond the reinforcement. It really, it's part of the Dutchware difference that we're really trying to make something better with innovation, that you're going to have a better product in the end.
So one of the other manufacturers that you also do is
Loco Libre. So I always knew how to make quilts. I used to make quilts myself, but I really feel like Dutchware needed to make quilts because there's really good quilt manufacturers out there. You know, Jaxar Better and Loco Libre. Trailheads is doing some really great ultralight stuff, and I really didn't have anything I felt to bring to the party. I'll stay in my lane. I'll make really great hammocks. And then George from Loco Libre says he wants to retire. And I thought, that is my in, because he truly makes a superior product. And the reason it's really superior is you are really designing the quilt as the customer, sending it to us, and we make it. Tony, you are a different height than I am.
right.
You take a different size quilt than you would. I am different width than you are, and make people all different sizes, different temperature ratings, and also people get to pick every aspect of this. The weight of the fabric that's holding this, the amount of down that's in here, the height of the baffle, the color of the thread on each side is chosen by the customer. The length, the amount of taper they put into it, the type of foot box that they put onto it. The customer literally is designing it. We take that design and then we make that for that customer. Right now, we can do it within 2 weeks, which is really great.
Wow, yeah.
Another great aspect, and what really makes Local Libre Quilt superior, is the chevron baffles.
Oh, I see that, yeah.
So, yes, this looks really cool,
Yeah.
but it is very functional. That makes it very difficult for down to migrate. So the whole purpose of the baffle is to keep it so that when you pick this up, all the down just doesn't go to the bottom.
Right.
But you can still move down from side to side through the chamber. But when it has to go around all these corners, it is going to keep it in place better, and you don't get the cold spots that you have to go and move things around.
Right.
You should not be migrating down
Right.
in your quilt to make it so that you stay warm. And these, I mean, look at this foot box. Look at, what is this, like 18 inches round of solid. This is solid down that you're putting your feet into. And I am very proud to be making the Local Libre brand. And we purchased this company, I guess it's about 9 months now.
Okay.
And it has been fun. That every one is like a work of art that goes out, and everyone's unique. We've never put out 2 quilts that have been the same.
Yeah.
So the process is that everything's manufactured. We actually do it in many steps. No one person usually makes a product unless it's very simple. Chameleon is done by like 4 or 5 people. And then it finally comes down here in these bins, and we then quality assure them here. You see that we keep red for head loops over here. We have our ridge lines over on this side. We're going to have our black loops. We lay out our hammocks, and we diligently, we look at every single stitch, and we make sure that everything is good to go. These are Hellbenders, and
Now the Hellbender is your newest hammock, right?
yes, this is.
I see a smile.
This is. I'm very proud of these things because we were able to take about 7 ounces off of a quilted chameleon by making something very specific, and it also is an asymmetrical hammock. It is the most comfortable hammock that I've ever laid in, and I've laid in a lot of hammocks. My only fear of it is that I don't know what I'm making after this, because I was like, ooh, I might have made the best hammock ever. So after we get done, we do some final assembly, we do some packaging, and then you'll see right here, after we've weighed it and everything, there's a tube, and we drop it down there. That goes right down to shipping. That way nobody has to walk up and down the stairs.
Oh, very nice.
So we run almost all Juki sewing machines here. They are super fast. They're super automatic. Most of these machines are single stitch machines, although we have some unique ones that, there's pullers on them, there's walking feet. Some of them do some zigzags, bar tacking, things of that nature. But most of them are single stitch, and their job is to go fast and to be very accurate. And this is actually a neat thing that we're working on. Let's see if I can. Now you're going to see my tools are on here because this is something we are absolutely developing at this time. When you see this orange plastic anywhere in this building, that means that this is 3D printed that we made. And this is a box stitcher. And what we've done here is we made a fixture, and what I want to do is be able to put a tarp hem on there, sandwich it on here, and then that slides onto here. Now, I don't have any thread in here, but if this all goes well, when you go and you put the tarp in there, that clamps down on it, and then it will automatically sew.
Oh.
Now, when it's put into production, I'm going to have this running. It's almost instantaneous. but right now we're just setting it up. I don't want it to crash it into it. There's a lot of moving parts on
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
But this is kind of some of the ways, the same innovation that we put into the gear, we put into the manufacturing so that it is as high quality but also efficient. We're always looking for ways to make things efficient.
This is the Dutch studio. This is recognizable.
So, yeah, we do, obviously, we do our live streams from here. We shoot a lot of videos from here, but also, well, I slept here. I slept here 2 days ago, but we also work on the gear here. We have a great way of setting these things up. Here, this is actually a great sneak peek for some people that were lucky enough to get in on a Kickstarter. And this is a special Dyneema tarp that goes on to another manufacturer's hammock. And what's really neat about this, so this is made so that, and we worked with them to really develop this out. So you could put this out here in porch mode, or you can batten down the hatches. This is a Dyneema tarp, and this is kind of a real special order for them. And this is probably the most difficult and engineered Dyneema tarp on the planet. It is made so that it can open up like that, and it has this great triangle over here, but so that part's going to get covered. You can tie this out here, but when you want it in storm mode, these cam snaps actually snap together, and then also snap over here. And this would be tied out. This also, you can't imagine the amount of calculating to make it so that those angles get there.
Goodness.
But look how that battens down the hatches, so that this is going to be a totally waterproof product for the customer. And well, we're in the throes of making these. These have not hit the market yet, so this is a sneak
peek. Yeah. Which just goes to show the innovation and also all of the calculations to get it right before you go to market. Yeah.
This really took a lot to make it and to fit it onto somebody else's product.
Yeah.
I don't know their product like I know my product.
Right.
We also have over here a light box. We use this for taking pictures of small items, but you mount a camera to here, and you put the products in there, and it'll actually take a picture and it'll turn a little bit. It'll take a picture and turn a little bit. Takes away all the background, and it makes it so you can go on the website and you can spin a part around because it's taking all these pictures of it spinning.
Yeah. Oh, that is very neat.
And it really, one of the things you're buying here is the software because the software to get it all out.
Yeah.
So fabrics, I mean, imagine you're a DIYer and you're making gear, and one day you get to build a DIY company and a hammock company, and you get to develop your own fabrics for that. Now, prior to this, you had to go to other industries. You had to go to the clothing industry, flag industry. People were literally making hammocks out of tablecloths. And if you were a manufacturer, you either had to buy a whole lot of it, and if you're a small manufacturer, you couldn't, or you had to deal with what was on hand, and you couldn't give much variety. And we saw that hole in the market, and we developed the different fabrics that are specifically for the outdoor industry, and definitely we're pointing towards the hammock industry with our products. So when you go and you feel Hexon, it has a very soft feel, and that is because we've gone down to the thread level and these threads are dull threads, and they don't feel plasticky, they feel cottony. This feels soft. This is also made out of nylon 6/6, which is stronger than nylon 6. So you can't see that on a Facebook ad or an Amazon page, but we are making this to be as comfortable and light, the right amount of stretch, the exact amount of ripstop that's put into it, and they are very specifically, these fabrics are made for hammocks, and really that's really all they are used is for hammocks. We get to choose the width, we get to choose every characteristic of it to make it just perfect for that. Now, if you're a small manufacturer, you can order 4 yards of this wide burnt orange, and you can get this olive green. You can get 8 yards of that, and you can supply your customers with something regularly and repeatedly.
So Dutch, with all this different fabric here, like your inventory, you're not just using this for yourself, but you're also, when you were saying that, you're cutting it for other, maybe smaller manufacturers?
Yes, small manufacturers. Also, we make it so that the DIYer can get the same fabrics as the small manufacturers or even the big manufacturers. Some things we've gone and we stock is not really for our use. Dyneema would be a good example of that. Here's rolls of Dyneema up here. I think this is 1 ounce per square yard white, and we do manufacture a couple things out of here, but really it was just because that was what we had on hand. We make the Anaconda out of this material, but we're stocking backpack materials. We don't manufacture backpacks, and we do a little bit of development for that, but it is really neat to work with Dyneema and these high-end fabrics. Ultra would be another one that we have. Alpha Direct, the X-Pack materials, we supply them to bike packing and backpacking and DIYers, and it's actually a lot of fun because DIY was actually my hobby.
I was going to say, that was your hobby, that now it's hobby and passion, and now it's also supplying others that it may be their hobby or their passion.
Yeah,
full circle. Yeah,
absolutely. And we really like working with the other manufacturers. We don't really think that we have competitors. We have people that we work with, and we have friends that we work with, and these same people that you may call competitors, we are going to hangs, and we're going to campfires, and we're sitting around a campfire and we're talking shop, and very often I always look at it as, how can I work with you? Jack So Better would be a great example, where we are supplying them with high-end fabrics. They're making the quilts. They send the quilts back, and I sell the quilts. And a rising tide raises all ships, and that's really where we want to be at.
Right. Very nice.
So, as many people may already know, we are a distributor of Dutchware Gear, making these great turtle bug hammock stands. We try and do everything hammock, and we're very proud. These guys have been so great to work with, and they're so innovative, and now I don't have to make a stand because they make the best stand on the market.
And we saw a lot of those the last couple of years down at HangCon.
They have been coming on, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
they are a great stand, and every little innovation they have the 2-person stand. They're coming out with an ultralight cricket. It's like 4 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And the turtle bug stand is really quick to set up. So not every piece of infrastructure is actually a payback. Sometimes the pieces are necessary, but they're so darn expensive that, well, you're just going to have to lose money on it. And this is going to be one of those toys that you get to have that are just, you want to have that toy though. And this is a roll slitter. So sometimes you want baffle material, and in order to do that, we take bug net and we slice it into what we call bologna slices. And we take rolls of bug netting and we stick it on here. I want you to imagine, prior to this, people drew lines and cut baffle material with scissors. And this makes it so it slits the entire roll. So you put it on these rollers are adjustable, and they get the roll spinning. And then you have this big meat slicer chop blade, which is also spinning, and it comes down and it slices that roll. What you wind up with is, this is the end of a bug netting, but we can cut this into 1 inch, and then you would have a 1 inch baffle material. We're also slitting our adhesives to do our bonding, to do that. We also slit for other companies. Sometimes we take the salvage off of an entire roll so that before we sew it, We do that also again for other companies. And sometimes we need fabric to be exactly a width. So we'll cut a whole roll up into that. A stuff sack would be very symbolic of that we need 18 inches wide. So we cut a whole roll at a time, and we don't have to sit there and cut it. And this cuts super fast. So before we do the dye sublimation, we first have to get the ink onto the paper. And this is our design department, and we get the image that we then print onto here. This is ATAX camo. And what's really neat about this is actually going to look better when it's on the fabric. All this is laying ink onto paper so that when we run it through, it turns it into a gas. And that's when it becomes vibrant and really gives a great pop to it. So this here is a big long run that we are doing, and this printer is super fast. This actually has a dual head, and it's laying down 2 strips at one time.
Oh.
You want it to go as fast as you can, because when you're doing when you do a 100-yard run, you don't want to do very many of them, because you can kind of let it sit until you come in the morning, but I worry about it. So I always come in here at like 11 o'clock at night, and I turn the printer off, and I don't want to let it sit. And with the machine on, and the wind-up roll is trying to take it all up. But this is the very first step. This has to be successful in order for the dye sublimation to be successful. So we do dye sublimation printing, which that means that we are taking ink, we're putting it on paper, and then we put it into the fabric. You can see over on this side, the paper with the ink on it is going in. This is the end of the roll. But then on this side over here, now look, this is printing, not like when you silk screen onto a shirt. This is penetrating the fabric. This is a waterproof fabric. This is a licensed print. This is ATAX. And you can see we've taken the ink off the paper, and it turns it into a gas, and then it goes into the very molecules of the fabric. So this is going to be completely dyed, and it still retains its waterproofness. It's not going to rub off, and we're able to do the entire width of the product. So we're not doing like one shirt at a time like you do with a heat press. This is a continual roll. This actually is a huge order. This is, it's a huge order for us, which is 400 yards. So although this one's meant to be a winter ATAX print, and it's very muted, we can get extremely vibrant. You can see here that this leopard print, it absolutely pops. And we can do our own prints with this, and we can also do specifically what a customer requests. If you want your picture to be on a tarp, or your savior, or your dog, or whatever, we can go and we can print that, and we can make your tarp or your hammock, your underquilt, whatever you want to have those images.
Oh, very nice. And that's something like a special order, like a custom, so you can do a whole bunch of different stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And this is really fun, because you're making a work of art for each individual person.
Yeah.
And I really love this. I really love going to a hang and seeing the printed tarps that we put out. Yeah. And some of them pop even better than what I even imagined.
Right. Nice. Oh, very cool.
So this is our laser cutting room, and one of the ways that we're really able to bring quality into our products and repeatability, also speed, is laser cutting. So you can see we do this for another manufacturer, but we're making very intricate cut parts, and they are sealed so that nothing frays, and you couldn't cut this with a scissors. Here's another example of that. Could you imagine cutting this out with a scissors?
Oh my.
So it literally is a laser, and not too many things can be cooler than a laser. You see we got this big wide table, and it's also on a conveyor belt, and it will cut not only stuff this big, but stuff bigger. It'll cut continuously, and it will also cut something bigger. It'll cut half of it, and then the table runs, and it picks up where it lets off. We even have, if you look up here, a camera, and the camera will check out an image. So I could use the dye sublimation. I print an image onto a piece of fabric. It will scan it with the camera, and then it will laser cut that out. Like, let's say I did shirts. I could do shirts that they wind up getting printed, and it'll cut out exactly that image. With the laser, we're able to cut very thin materials and also very thick materials. You can see this is like 1/8 thick foam. It'll even do thicker than this. The only thing I don't like about that is it starts making my belt dirty for running tarps. So we try to keep it pretty much to the ultralight materials. So this is something that we're going to manufacture for somebody else. So we not only cut our products with it, but we are a laser cutting company that cuts fabrics for other people. For doing in-house parts and also a lot of fixtures, we do 3D printing, and this is something relatively new pretty much to everybody, but you can see right here we are 3D printing. These are actually car parts that we're going to wrap in fabric, and we do that for a local supplier of high-end things like gear shift knobs and details that people do aftermarket for their cars. So like you get a shift boot with very ornamental twin stitching that matches their rims or something like that. Right. And this is the plastic piece you can see right here that we manufacture, and then we wind up wrapping this with a very high-end, it's like a felt or and the material is incredibly expensive. I don't know why, but we also do gear shift knobs. You can see some gear shift knobs here. We're going to wrap this with fabric, and it's going to be super tight, and these things are weighted. And well, I guess if you're a card nut, I'm not a card nut, that's very important that you do this. And then we make a fixture so that we're able to put that in place, and then this pushes the fabric in, and you'll see all over this place that we have 3D printed our own fixtures. It has given us so much more capability. And as you look in here on the machine, everything in this machine that is orange, this machine actually made. So this machine really made itself.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And I mean, even like the handle on here, and when you look around here, like let's say I need a scraper. What's quicker? Can I just 3D print it, or do I have to go to Home Depot? I can just 3D print it. I don't have to. So I can just make whatever I want. And as you look through the plant, you'll see a lot of things that are fixtured so that we can make our jobs easier.
This isn't obviously hammock related, but it's something that you developed out of making your own gear?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we love working particularly American and local companies. We want to keep everything as local as possible.
Yeah.
But we're wrapping this with fabric. We're 3D printing something, and this is for the car industry, and we can do that as well for the hammock industry as we can the car industry. And actually, these guys have been such a pleasure. I had no idea the type of money that people are putting into personalizing their cars. But
right.
People are passionate about different things, and well, people should follow their passions.
Absolutely.
For quality assurance, it just doesn't have to look good and be the right size. The materials have to be made out of the right things, and the way we do that is we test the materials when they come out. So this is a waterproof testing. So you go and it has an automatic fill. It fills up from down there, but it fills this up with water. You stick the fabric in there, and you bring this down on it, and it's going to build pressure in there. And it's going to tell you at what pressure that starts to leak at. You sit there and you watch it, and when it has 3 drops of water on top of it, that's where you call it and you say that's good.
Okay.
And that way we can make sure that we're not sending out tarps that people are going to get wet by. Right here is something that we use for testing the tear strength. So you put the fabric in here, you actually cut it to this pattern, and it goes in this clamp, and this arm swings down. It's a weighted arm, and it knows the amount of resistance, so it is testing the tear strength of the fabric, so we know that we are getting the stuff made out of what we say it's being made of, and it's the correct strength.
Right, and that's important too, because obviously you want to know what your product does and also be able to reassure the customer. So quality assurance is very good.
A hammock failing on day one of a 5-day hike is a terrible, terrible thing.
Right.
We don't want that to happen to anybody.
No, absolutely not.
So I got my start actually making hammock hardware, the Dutch clips being specifically the one. I used to do it with very rudimentary tools, and now we got all kinds of really good equipment to make really great products. You can see here that things come in water jet cut, and they're ugly and they're gray. The edges are extremely sharp. It has a standoff on here that's going to be very sharp, and then we're able to put them into the milling machine. We do some really great things with fixturing the items in here. You can see that we've cut all of our patterns in here. They're actually held down by vacuum. Here's the stingers and here's the whoopee hook, and we hold it down. So we take this, and after we get done with this, we have totally made this so it's ornamental. This is a very high-end button that goes for weather wool, which was another great U.S. manufacturer, and they make really fantastic wool clothing, and they put these on their pea coats, and these are titanium, and they're bronze. We are cutting titanium, which is it's pretty strong, and it's pretty easy to work with, but you have to have the right tooling, and that is what this does. Our 3D capability has been married with this so that we can make different fixtures and hold downs, so that what this is going to do for the most part is it's going to put a radius all around the edges, so this sharp edge is going to be gone. And then from that point, all we have to do, we've cut it, we've rounded the edges, and then we have to polish it, and we do that right over here. After we do that, we might have to go and bend down a wing on the tarp fly or something like that. But then it finally goes into all these different aggregates, and we run these through a very high-speed polisher, and it does an incredible job. We used to do it with a vibratory tumbler, and that took 36 hours. Now we have a high-speed one, and we have it down to 2 hours. But more importantly, the finish on my product is better than ever. You can literally look at a Dutch clip, and it is a mirror, and you can see yourself in it. All the edges are rounded. I've seen my competitors work. It's not nearly to the level of what we're talking here. These things are the best quality metalwork that I've seen come out of anywhere, and we make them right here, right in our little shop here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
That is awesome. And this is some of the polished?
These are actually not polished. Before we go and we run them through the CNC machine, we have to take off this little burr that is on here.
Okay.
And so we take that and we run it through. We have all these different sanding things that are going to grind or take off, and then. And sometimes we have to go, like we stick the stinger in here and we bend down the tarp fly. We bend down the wing or the antenna to make it so that it pinches the part correctly. If you see here, they even put a piece of elastic on here. That way it springs it back up.
All about innovation.
They must have just done that. It's so simple, but boy, does that work really
right?
well.
Yeah, it does. That's a good deal. All right, so that was the tour of Dutchware Gear. Dutch, I want to thank you, because this is really educational for me, and I think for a lot of people that just don't understand what all goes into manufacturing, and they think hammock, tarp, cord, but seeing all the different components and everything that's involved from the patents to the process to the finished product, this was really eye-opening for me.
Yeah, as you can tell, we're very passionate about this, and we're having a ball at it. It is fun. It's fun to invent. It's fun to make. It's fun to do something nobody else has done before, and also to help develop other people's adventures and their dreams, and to make them the greatest quilt, hammock, tarp that they possibly can have. Something they're going to be really proud of. I love it when people show off my gear.
Yeah, and the passion. I have to say that the passion didn't only sense in Dutch himself, but every employee throughout the whole building had that same passion, and you can see the passion in the quality of the work that is being put out from here. Just kudos to you and your whole team.
Well, I'm fortunate in many ways, and I think Dutchware is just another way that I've really been very fortunate, because I feel like with partnership with everybody that has been involved, it has certainly enhanced my life, and I hope that it's enhanced others.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you want to close this out, and then I'll do my Tony 2.0 out?
Absolutely. So, thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. And Tony and Dutch 2.0 out. Thanks for coming along. We'll see you on the next random adventure. Don't forget to check them out. DutchwareGear.com, full website. All right, we'll see you on the next one.